Hello there guys, Teacher Krishna here and welcome to our next class for the fourth unit. This is a class that is part of the high school and 8 BYS. We are working on the subject science and this is week number 29. We welcome everyone and let's start with our ending mind. The students will be able to determine the geographic location of different climate regions by coloring a map. And of course, our ending mind is related to the summary of activities that we have for today. So number one, please print a world map. And necessarily it must be in black and white because you need to color it later on. Okay? So look for a black and white world map on internet and print it out. Then color and identify several climate regions. So it's necessary that you actually read today's topic for doing this. So make sure to read the topic before you identify the several climate regions around the world. You also need to complete the book exercises from pages 134 to 138. Those are the pages we are going to work on today. And number 4, create a compilation of your work in one document, either Word or PDF, and upload it to Educativa. Right? And even though you don't have to make a summary today, it's necessary that you actually write down the date, ending mind, and title for today's topic. Please make sure to take that into consideration for today's activities. All right, so let's go over our topic, climate regions. And this is a very beautiful picture of one of the most enigmatic climate regions around the world. And it is Mount Wailali. I think that's the way it is pronounced. It's a Hawaiian term. So it is located in Hawaii, and it is one of the most humid places around the globe. And it gathers an average of 1,143 centimeters of rain every year. So that's a lot of rain. That is more than 1 inch of rain every day. So imagine, every single day it must be raining right there. And of course, it gathers around, more than 2.5 centimeters of rain every single day. So it is interesting that in some places in Hawaii, they do not reach 10 inches of rain a year. So what we need to take into consideration is that not all Hawaii looks like this. Not all Hawaii receives this amount of rain because there are certain sections in which it can be like more of an average place in relation to humidity, of course. But when we talk about Waialeale, we are going to find a super humid place. So, how do scientists classify climates? So, this is a very important person for a scientist because he helps to determine how to classify the different climates around the globe. So, scientists use a method that was developed in the 1900s by Vladimir Koppen. They analyzed temperature, precipitation, and vegetation from an area to determine its climate. So, let's just recap. These things are the ones that scientists use to classify climate: temperature, precipitation, and vegetation. Those 3 things. Right? And let's continue. What are the 6 main climate regions? So we are going to analyze them, and then I'm going to show you some pictures so we can actually visualize in our heads what each one of these climate regions look like. There are 6 main types of climate regions. Notice that there is no real division regarding where a climate region begins and ends. We can only draw an approximation line. So, and remember that today you will need to identify several climate regions around the globe. But this is just an approximation because if you actually get to go to those places, there is no like a real line in between a climate region and another. It's just an approximation so we humans can have an idea of what we could find in those regions. So we start with tropical rainy. The temperature is always 18 degrees Celsius or above, which means that it is mostly a warm region that is around 18 degrees Celsius, or in some cases it can be even hotter than that. We also have a dry type of climate, and there is a higher amount of evaporation than precipitation. It can be cold or hot. When we refer to dry, we can think of a desert, in which there is a bunch of evaporation, but remembering what we have studied before, since there is not actually a big body of water close to that specific region, what happens is that there is more evaporation than precipitation. So that's why we say that it's very dry. In deserts, during the day, it's extremely hot, but during nights, it is extremely cold. We have temperate marine. During warmest months, it is going to reach 10 degrees Celsius or above. And during coldest months, it is going to achieve minus 3 degrees or 18 or minus 18 degrees. So, of course, this is part of the temperature types of climate. And remember that we analyzed that these places are, for example, some regions in the United States or some others in Canada, and which, depending on the season, it can be like super hot, or in some other times it can be super cold. We also have temperate continental, above 10 degrees during the warmest months and below minus 3 degrees during coldest months. So this climate region is very similar to the temperate marine, because one more time, depending on the season, the temperature is going to change a lot or not. We also have polar. It is always below 10 degrees Celsius, which means that it's freezing at those locations. We can think about the North Pole or the South Pole as well, in which there is a constant freezing temperature. And of course, generally, we're going to find a lot of ice around. And we also have highlands. They are usually cooler and wetter than closer lowlands. Highlands basically means like the tops of mountains or sections that are at a higher location than the rest of the places that are around them. And of course, that causes them to be colder or wetter. All right, let's continue. And right over here we have a map. And this is very general, let's say. And you have a more specific map in your book. So please use the map of your book to actually color your world map, because this is just general and it's just for explanatory purposes. Don't take this as a reference for doing your map. But in very general terms, we are going to find some polar regions, just like the ones that we can see right here in the south, well, in the north of Canada. We're going to find some temperate zones, just like the ones that are located right here on the north in United States. We can also analyze a couple of regions right here from Africa in south, or in some regions in Africa, in Europe and Asia right here. We have some arid type of weather or type of climate, which is signalized like a part of the locations in Mexico, in North Africa, and some other regions that we can see right here in Australia. We also have a tropical region, which is pretty hot mostly, and in which can be identified in the north of South America. And Guatemala and the rest of countries from Central America are usually part of the temperate climate. So this is incorrect right here. That's why I was telling you. It's just a reference, just to explain you some kind of the way it works. And also we can find the Mediterranean type of weather and some mountains around. But please, one more time, use the image that you have from your book that is way more specific. All right, and this is just a reminder about the activity that you need to complete today. Remember to print and color your world map. Identify at least 3 locations per each climate region. You have to share it during the Zoom session. So, of course, in your world map, you can identify 3 regions that are part of the temperate zone. You can identify other 3 sections that are part of the polar zone, and so on and so forth. Remember to have it ready for the Zoom session, because you have to share. And I prefer if you actually look for some regions that you would like to visit. So you can do some research on Google. Let's suppose that someday in the future you would like to go to Paris. So you are going to go on Google and actually identify where Paris is located at and what kind of climate it has right there. Or if someday you would like to go to Russia, well, in what section or what type of climate does it have? Color it, and of course, then during the Zoom session, you're going to share what locations you have and why would you like to travel there. That's it for me for now. Thank you a lot for coming, and I will see you in a couple of minutes. Goodbye, everyone, and always take care.